Hey there folks, Mr. G here with a bonus educational video today. This time we're going to be redoing all the calculations from video number 2 using TVM. So it's the exact same situation with Tim and Anthony buying a house. Now we're going to see how to do these calculations using the functions that we were using up to this point. One thing you'll notice is a lot of the numbers here will differ very slightly, and that's because the mortgage calculator does do a little bit of rounding on some of its steps. The way we'll do it will be numbers that are not rounded. And if you do calculations in the books, you'll find that the mortgage calculator might be off by just a little bit, but using TVM, you should get exactly the same numbers that they do. For our first part here, we're looking for a monthly payment. So we know that our future value is going to be 0, and our present value is going to be equal to our purchase price of $650,000 minus our down payment of 15%. So our original purchase price minus 15% of that purchase price gives us this number right here. Our rate is 4.38%, and we're doing this for 25 years. Our monthly payment is based on the calculation for the entire mortgage, not just for the term. So if we want to pay it off in 25 years, what's our monthly payment? That's the question we're asking. Since we're doing 12 payments every year, our number of periods is just 25 times 12. And our effective rate is that very complicated formula that we saw last time. I won't go over it in too much detail, but since we are compounding twice a year, our compounds per year is 2, and our payments per year is 12. We're making 12 payments once every month. Once you have your effective rate and all of your numbers here, we can use TVM equals PMT, open bracket, click on our effective rate, click on our number of periods, click on our present value, click on our future value, and all mortgage payments are made at the end of every month, so we're going to put a 0 here, close the brackets, and then hit enter. And we'll see we get the exact same number as we did from our mortgage calculator. Except ours is negative because, remember, for TVM, we're making payments out of our pocket, so this is going to be negative. For the real cost of the house, what we would do is take our value up here and multiply it by the number of payments, which was 300. So if we're making this payment 300 times, what's that amount? We'll see that it's this number right here. Now, if we compare that to our number that we got using the mortgage calculator, you'll see that they differ by about 50 cents. And I think this is because our mortgage calculator is rounding as it's doing this calculation, and they're doing the calculation in a slightly different way. They're not doing this calculation right here. They're doing something a little bit different when they calculate the real cost. Like I said before, though, this difference is so small. This is almost $1 million. And the difference is only about 40 cents. So very, very small rounding errors here. To find our remainder after our 5-year term, in this case, we're solving for our future value. We want to know how much loan we have left after 5 years. To figure this out, we need our present value, which is the same as what we did before. We're still starting with this amount of money, but now we need to know what our payments are. Fortunately, we already calculated that, so we can just use equals and click on our payment from up here. The signs for both of these are right. We're starting by withdrawing this amount. We're paying this back. We also have the same rate and effective rate as before, but now we have only 5 years for our term. It's a 5-year term, which means the number of periods is 5 times 12, which is 60. Our future value is equal to FV, open bracket, our rate, the number of periods, payment amount, present value, and again, these payments are made at the end of each month, and we get this number right here. This number is negative because we still owe this money. This is what we would have to pay out of our pocket to clear the loan. And if we compare this to our number that we got doing it with the mortgage calculator, we'll see that it's about 13 cents off. Again, I think this comes down to the rounding and the way the mortgage calculator does these calculations. For part D here, we're going to do weekly payments instead, and we're effectively going to redo part A from our first spreadsheet here, except we're going to change our payments per year to be 52 instead of 12. We make that change here, and our number of periods as well as our effective rate, which also depend on the number of payments per year, change a little bit as well. But we still make the same calculation, equals PMT, open bracket, we click on our effective rate, our number of periods, our present value and our future value, making payments at the end of each week, and we get our number, and this one matches our previous number exactly. For our last example here, we're going to find the new monthly payment on our fully amortized mortgage for 15 years. We've got our new rate as well as effective rate calculated, the number of years, as well as the number of periods, which is the same as this times 12, because we're making 12 payments every year. Our future value is still going to be 0, but our present value is going to be equal to this remainder after 5 years. But we have to be careful because we have to multiply this by -1, because our present value should be positive. This is money that we have effectively taken out of the bank. And now we want to see how much we have to pay each month to pay it off. So equals PMT, open bracket, our effective rate, number of periods, present value, future value, as well as payments at the end of each month. And we get the amount we would be paying each month for our new mortgage here. And as we'll see, it matches the previous number exactly. The main takeaway for this would be that these TVM calculations allow you to get the same numbers within usually less than $1. And again, this comes down to exactly how the calculators are doing rounding when you're doing these multi-step questions. When it comes to the quizzes, I will be putting both the mortgage calculator as well as the TVM answers. So if they differ by any amount, I'll make sure to include both. Thanks for sticking around for this bonus video. Hope you found this helpful. When you're doing the homework questions, I encourage you to use the calculator or TVM, whichever one you're more comfortable with. The only really tricky thing here is getting the right effective rate with this really complicated formula. Make sure you check out the assignment and the weekly quiz, and I'll see you all in the next video.